Good morning, everyone. Great, and good afternoon for those of you who are after the lunchtime period. Welcome to our second ZOOMformation call. It's great to see so many of you with us again today. Can I just advise you ahead of time, please don't adjust your monitors. This pink look around me is in fact not the shade problem with your monitors. This is in fact my suntan, or my suntan to be that I've been working on. That's what you get for living in one of the 7,000 beautiful islands and keys in the Caribbean. I've spent a few days here working on one of our more remote islands. Great opportunities for partnerships, by the way, enjoyment as well as Rotary extension throughout these islands. And I hear it's carnival in the Eastern Caribbean now. Want to encourage you to come down and to enjoy the Caribbean. Not intending to be an advertisement for the local tourist boards, but there's an opportunity for partnership here. As you know, today, extension and membership month is where we're at. And those of you who were able to attend last month's Zoom will know that Zone 33 and 34 are ahead of the game this year as we launched the zone's first medium-term membership action plan at our July the 11th ZOOMformation call, followed by a 1-hour Zoom launch in the evening, attended by almost 600 people. Thank you to all of you who were involved in that in terms of putting it together, and all of you who attended as well, and all of you who may have watched it subsequently. And apologies for the lunchtime glitch where we limited our information call to 100. You notice we've got 150 on the call today, so we've got that sorted out. Rotary is an exclusive product in some ways, but in a good way, and it's not our intention to exclude any of you from enjoying it. And in fact, one of the board's main focuses this year is just the opposite. We aim to be more inclusive, to extend our reach and bring in a wider array of members, thereby including the diversity of our clubs, districts, and Rotary as a whole. For those of you who missed last month's call, we talked about how we intended to imagine Rotary, or possibly reimagine Rotary, with an amazing new president at our helm. In fact, I had a chance to chat today with President Jen and Nick. They send their very best to each and every one of us from Karachi in Pakistan, where of course their main focus will be in assisting with the eradication effort on polio. More on that later in the program. I know this year's DG's class are already making great strides, taking President Jen's theme and their messages to the clubs in their official visits. And I also hear a few of them spreading the word on our zone's membership action plan. So DGs, thank you on all fronts. I know the district governors-elect are watching intently as they imagine themselves in this role in the 2023-24 year. We also talked last year about the importance of building continuity and heard about the amazing program that's walking the walk in that regard, Empowering Girls, which was a presidential initiative under President Shaker, has continued under President Jen, who comments that empowering girls will lead to empowered women. And of course, it will be a program as well for President-elect Gordon as we carry it forward. Great examples of continuity for us to take on board as we build Rotary year on year. And we're more powerful when we work together that way. And it's exactly what we're trying to do with Zones 33 and 34's membership action plan. Year on year, consistent, moderate growth. Now, the first bite-sized chunk, as we call it, MAP webinar, will be held next Monday on August 8th, 5 p.m. Eastern. And we'll deal with that important first step in the membership system, creating a membership pipeline. How do we find gaps in our membership that we can fill? How do we identify superb membership prospects to fill them? People, as President Jen says, people of action, people of purpose, and people of influence that can create more diverse clubs. And how can we excite members to fuel growth? These are a few of the topics that we covered on our first MAP bite-sized chunk webinar next Monday, August 8th at 5 p.m. You may have heard that we've increased our numbers last year. The news is just out, but unfortunately it's only marginally, 4,000 globally. And our and other zones throughout the Western world especially continue to decline. So please register for the up and coming MAP webinar. And more importantly, invite your club membership chairs, your club presidents, as well as your district teams, of course. Membership remains our biggest challenge and our #1 internal priority. A large part of this, as we heard last week as well, is nurturing and caring for our members. And it's particularly important in the stressful and uncertain world that we live in. Our well-being and mental health, as I said, needs to be our top priority. And this, of course, falls under the remit of a successful DEI strategy. And last week, we heard from Past RA Director Stephanie about her Rotary Works program. And this is very much based on the premise that we need to care for our members so we can in turn provide even better care for our communities. And this week, we also have some exciting presentations for you. RMO Audley Knight will appropriately be hosting a panel who will present on membership success stories. And later we'll hear about one of the regional initiatives we've taken by creating a zone-level committee to tackle human trafficking, which will become a resource to our clubs and districts in dealing with this almost ubiquitous challenge that affects even the quietest of our communities under the surface. As mentioned, the Rotary International Board wants us to focus on more transformational topics as well. And again, we mentioned last week that consensus shows that the #1 topic in this regard is the concept of regionalization, building structures that better reflect the regional needs of our members based on geography and culture on a regional basis. The goal is to build structures to support our clubs, make sure our members have these resources available, acknowledging one size doesn't fit all. And our Zones Human Trafficking Initiative and MAP Plan are two great examples of this more regional approach in action, where the board is encouraging us to try new things and to engage our members and support our clubs and districts more effectively. So watch this space as we grow the idea of additional support experts throughout the year, supported by medium-term action plans. And in that regard, we're also in the early stages of a medium-term foundation action plan, seeing if we can be even more effective as we focus on the various aspects of the foundations. And of course, no topic is more important in this regard than our top external priority of ending polio. The success of this multi-decade effort will create an environment where we as an organization have even greater credibility as the most effective service delivery network the world has ever seen. The esteem with which we have now would increase significantly to an even higher level, and the world would trust that when Rotary promises to deliver, it will, no matter how long it will take. We'll be there to get the job done. And in that sense, it's my great pleasure today to introduce none other than the chair of the Rotary Foundation Board of Trustees, none other than past RI President John Germ, to give us an update on Polio Plus and End Polio. John, over to you. Thank you.
Can't get on. Thank you very much, Jeremy. It's a pleasure to be with you and to talk about Rotary's program of the highest priority. I was asked to discuss a little bit about the situation that we recently encountered in New York, where we had one case of a vaccine-derived polio that appeared. This person that got that was a young man who is 20 years old. He lives in Rockland County, New York, which is one of the largest areas of unvaccinated people that we know about. As a matter of fact, when measles was going around about 3 years ago, they had over 300 cases of the measles there because for some reason they have not gotten the message that vaccinations do work. The vaccine-derived case that polio has a generic trace. The case came in New York. Originally was a generic match to a case that was in Jerusalem. Then that was it's a generic match to the case that was in London. It is not contagious. It is not spread by human contact. But it's spread because this person was not vaccinated and became in contact with somebody that brought it in from the outside the United States. You know, we've talked for years about that polio was a plane ride away. And here's a perfect example of it coming in from outside, from somebody that was traveling in those areas that came in and had brought that case with them. As far as the update on polio is concerned, we do have one case in Pakistan. It's still Afghanistan. It's still making one case there. Still true for the whole year. We've got 13 cases in Pakistan, and most of those are in areas where we have not been able to reach before. And then we have 4 cases in Mozambique. Now, the cases in Mozambique are the wild polio virus. So that gives us a total of 18 cases, which is still a large improvement from what we've had in the past. The cases in Mozambique came from Lahore in Pakistan, and they went to Malawi, and then from Malawi it goes to Mozambique. So you can see that it travels very quickly all around the world. Mozambique has jumped on this very courageously. They had a NID, National Immunization Day, on the 23rd of July, and they will have one every month for the next 3 months, because they're determined that this is not going to affect them being a polio-free area. So we have to continue, and let me congratulate the members of Zone 33 and 34 for the outstanding performance last year on the helping us raise the $50 million. We did reach the $50 million goal, and therefore in January we will be able to get $100 million from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. In October, we will be presenting a grant request to the foundation for approximately $50 million, of which we will continue to fund activities to help eradicate polio. Let me encourage everyone to do their part in order to do this. You can become a member of the Polio Plus Society. You can talk to your EPNCs there or your directors and talk about End Polio Now. Jennifer, President Jennifer, was said by there that she is in Pakistan. She will be going from Pakistan to Bangladesh, and she just finished a large tour in India, visiting several people there in several districts. So you can encourage all the districts to do their 20% DDF and do it early. Certainly do it before the World Polio Day. And then we can do the situation where she gave out a painting that her brother did of the theme for this year, and gave it to each one of the district governors and asked those district governors to use that to, whether it be by auction or sale, they're not supposed to keep it unless they pay for it, and raise money for polio. So it is a challenge. We had a hard time last year. And anytime these cases like the one in New York that popped up, all of a sudden everybody wants to know, well, are really going to finish this? And we had one of our major givers from Zone 34 that had a personal conversation with Dr. Chris Elias for the Gates Foundation to go through the reasons that we need to keep doing this. We promised the children of the world is number one reason that we need to keep on. Number two, we know we have the vaccines that can get rid of this virus, and we should do it because of protecting the children. So those are two great main reasons we should keep this up. We have a contract with the Gates Foundation now to go through 2026. So I know I've used about 3 minutes, and so I will be happy to answer any questions, but be rest assured that we are working as hard as we can to eradicate polio, and we'll continue to do that as long as there's a polio case anywhere. So back to you.
Thanks, John. Really appreciate it. We're going to have to delay questions until the breakout sessions at the end. So anyone has a question for John can ask them then. It's now my great pleasure to introduce someone well known to us, the Regional Membership Officer, RMO, Past Assistant Governor from the Caribbean, Audley Knight. Audley, over to you.
Thank you very much, Jeremy, and thank you for allowing us to do this particular segment. And this one is about examples about membership success. And we have 3 persons on the panel today. We have Patrick Langano from District 7670. We have past President Michael O'Neill from District 6920. And we have also famous PDG Tom Gump from Districts 5950. And today we're going to speak a little bit. Patrick's going to start off just sharing some thoughts and ideas around a service-only model, with a service-only satellite club model or standalone model, which is, he coins it and branded it as Impact. Michael is going to share some thoughts around an innovative approach to a traditional club, And then Tom Gump will just kind of wrap up our segment, just sharing some thoughts around cause-based clubs. So Patrick, get ready to unmute your mic. So share with us, some thoughts on this service-only impact model. What's been the most successful experience so far?
Getting to meet you. No, I'll go with the challenges, because that's what takes up a lot of the time, if you don't mind.
Sure.
On that, because we could sit here and boast that we've got 18 clubs in X amount of different states and one overseas and 25 more in. And I'd rather tell you what the challenges are. And the biggest challenge is getting people to understand what the big picture of this is. We drill down to what the biggest challenges our traditional clubs have. I am of the belief that what's going to save Rotary in the United States is the same thing that saved Rotary in the United States for the last over 100 years, and that is our clubs. And because of our clubs that are autonomous, or each autonomous, you have to go into each individual one and understand that club. Once you start doing that, you realize the things that you have to overcome. Money, you have to overcome, well, is that going to splinter, or that's not who we are, and all those different things. So what we did is we started from scratch and decided that we were going to design a model that would overcome the objections from people using tools that Rotary gives them. Rotary had, and here's an example, Rotary has a wonderful tool in its tool belt called a satellite club. It's the most underutilized, best tool out there. Okay, and the reason why it's underutilized is because I think several reasons. A, it's the name of it. B, we have one-year presidencies who, and people have their own agendas, and they say, hey, I'm going to help form a satellite club, and then I'm trying to build up our club, and then they're going to break away. So there is some negative connotations to that. So what we did is we built around what we coined a companion club to overcome that objection. So what this is, what Impact is we built this model to overcome all the major objections that clubs have to changing. How do you recruit? Let's talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Everybody wants to become more diverse. Everybody wants to have more equity and inclusion out there. Oh, how do you do it? The clubs that I talk to, they say, we need more women, so we're going to go out and get more women, or we need more this. So, and that's just not the good approach. The approach is to try to develop something that's going to appeal to all. Well, we have that in Rotary. It's service. So we use that, and we don't talk membership, we talk service, to bring in a diverse group of people, because service is what unites us. It's what pulls everybody together. It spans all of the different categories of people that are out there. So most of our clubs, when we do training, we don't even talk membership. We talk service strategies, because you can't have a diverse club unless you offer diverse service strategy, a diverse service strategy. So the hardest part, the biggest challenge, is getting people to understand this isn't a club that you're going to attach to your club and this is how you do it, because that's what we do. We take them from conception to practice. We help them fill out the RI paperwork. We do training. We get them all the way through inductions. We do all the things that will help a club along to get things done. But we need them, and when we get them in the funnel, we explain to them big picture. Because 5 years down the road, you don't want it to go, wow, that was great for the first year or two. This is retraining people on how to attract members to their club while taking the pressure off of the existing clubs, for having to do this. So yeah, that's been the biggest challenge, Audley.
All right, it's wonderful, because when I heard of the model, and again for our audience, the wording impact is just branded. It came out of District 7670 from a regular Rotary club. So this impact model, again, in summary, it's really a service-only model, and it's driven by a satellite club. And the wording you'll hear Patrick speak or say from time to time as a companion club is this service-only satellite club model attached to a traditional club, they have no intention of breaking away. So we've seen a lot of growth. We've seen a lot of success with this model, and we're going to have some more conversations about that when we have our breakouts at the end of this particular session. So thank you, Patrick. I'm going to shift over to Michael just now, but that's the real summary for this impact model. So Michael, innovative thinking, that led to growth as the president for 2021-22 for your club from 6920, the Rotary Club of Savannah West. Your club grew from 28 to 51 members, a traditional club. What were the challenges faced, and what, in your opinion, that drove that level of growth and success?
Well, thank you, Audley. Well, first of all, we're at 59 members.
Okay.
had a couple join last week. So let me just say a couple things. I love what Jeremy said earlier, and the video and things of this nature, because it really is at the heart of what we are up against with local clubs. And I'm going to say just very briefly, the one of the things that we don't talk about very much, but is a challenge, is that we don't talk about why we don't grow. We talk about why we should grow, but why some members might not want to grow. That's real. That's a real thing in many of our members for many years. That's been the culture. That it's been, this is what we have, this is what we're going to keep, and we're going to go to our grave with it. And so what we want to do is hear from those members as well and see what their perspectives are. But with what we have done is we focused on friendships. We focused on friendships that existed, relationships that existed with members in their immediate circles. What I found in my attempts to expand our club's resources, not necessarily to get people to join, but to expand our club's resources, that most people didn't know what Rotary was. And when you first heard, it really did not. When you first heard about it, the first thing that comes up is exclusive, is for someone else, is for those guys. And for them to actually hear that there was the possibility of them becoming Rotary members, they were like, well, where do I sign? And first of all, are you serious? Because why haven't I heard this before? And then if you are serious, how do I sign up? So I want to thank our Rotary International and the people who have worked with the bylaws and the traditions to make this time in history probably the best time in history to grow Rotary. The actual rules are out there now, which makes Rotary accessible. We probably have to grapple a little bit, don't spend too much time on it, but grapple a little bit with the reality that there was some exclusivity kind of built in, I'm just saying, it's the truth, right? These things I really appreciate you guys and ladies for addressing those issues and we can now honestly, authentically go out there and say, wait, no. This thing is for everybody. And here's the rules. And once we were able to say that, people are coming in our club weekly. Speaking of that, see, you don't even have to meet weekly. See, those are kind of rules which put a lot of people out without having to say you couldn't be in. See, those are the kind of things that existed that now we don't have to do. And we can still call ourselves a traditional club. And so I will just say the things that helped is that we actually went out and invited. By the way, to Patrick's comment, see, I'm the past president and this year's president. So why did we do that? Why did the board decide to do that? For exactly what Patrick said. You have to have some, and we went from 20 something members to almost to about 60 members. Almost everybody in there has a red button. So we can't change presidents just like that without knowing that we're going to pay for that move. So our club decided to go with me having the privilege of serving for another year. But the service part is also important. Many of our new members are people from the nonprofit world, are service people. And when they found out what Rotary's real service history is, it's an easy sell. This is not hard. This is not pushing a rock up a hill. If we just tell people what we are today, we have had absolutely no problem. But you have to have the courage to ask the members who exist now, why haven't we grown? And what is our discomfort with growth? And how do we fix that? Because you don't want to have 40 new members come in and 20 of your old members leave. You don't want that either. So you want the continuity. So those are just some of the things that we've done to increase our numbers. And we probably had somebody enrolled today, Audley, but we haven't got
fantastic. Yeah, that's fantastic to learn, because we met at your District 6920's training assembly, and we spoke about what traditional clubs did to grow. And I shared some thoughts around clubs did a regular hands-on project once a month. Clubs did a social once a month. Clubs had really good speakers, and those socials and projects were highlighted using public image. And the other piece that's really hard to measure, the club meetings are fun. And that one is a little bit hard to measure, but you guys have done it. And I just want to say kudos to you. And I need to come and visit Savannah. And this happened in an era where there are several other Rotary clubs. So there's often pushback that we can't grow. But in Savannah West, there are 7 other clubs, and you guys are just doing very, very well at it. So I'm really glad you're able to come on today. And when I look at
might I say that we have so much fun? Might I say that we have so much fun today that the host establishment often has to start flickering the lights after because we're still standing around laughing.
No, that's a good place to be. That's a good club to be at. And when I glance at those attrition and attraction rates that we are looking at for membership or action plan, your retention rates, your attrition rates were really pretty good, 3.5. Your attraction rate were at 3.5 as well. But as we said during the map, you can't retain your club to growth. So we're going to end with our last segment with Tom Gump. And thanks so much, Michael and Patrick, so far. So Tom, you've had success in forming new and innovative clubs, specifically around cause-based clubs. What thoughts and advice can you share with us today?
Well, thank you, Audley, very much for having me here today. I'm honored to be here as part of the Zoom information call. So what is a cause-based club? It's simply a club that focuses on one particular cause. It has speakers that are all about that club, that cause. It has service projects that are all about that cause. For example, a club that serves veterans, or a club that focuses on ending human trafficking. But remember, it's about the cause. It's not about who's in the club. What do I mean by this? We are very inclusive when it comes to membership. All are welcome. But a cause-based club is exclusive when it comes to the individuals we serve. For example, a veterans club is all about serving veterans. It's not necessarily about being a veteran. We have non-veteran members as members of our local veterans club, like my friend Pastor Mark Shockey, who joined the club to serve veterans, even though he's not a veteran, because his son is active military. So what is a cause-based club not? A cause-based club is not a fellowship, because cause-based clubs, they seek grants and they do projects. A cause-based club is not a Rotary Action Group, because they don't advise others on how to fund projects or deliver projects. They serve people. A cause-based club is not a Rotary Community Corps, as cause-based clubs have their own Rotarian members in their club. So why form a cause-based club? Because cause-based clubs help us engage and retain our members. You likely heard the statistic that Rotary International brings in 150,000 new members each year. And in most years, we lose just slightly more than 150,000. Last year was an exception. We actually grew, as Director Jeremy said. But the scary part is not that statistic. The scary part is when we lose our members. We lose our new members, 10% of them within the first year that they join. We lose 52% within the first 3 years of them joining. Now, all of us know that after 3 years, we all have those lifelong friendships and we would never leave our clubs because we're fully engaged in our club. We have our friends and we are engaged in other areas of Rotary. But cause-based clubs keep people engaged. So I'm often asked what cause-based clubs are growing. Environmental clubs are doing very well. By my tracking, we have 32 of these clubs around the world, if you include the Rotary, Rotaract, and satellite clubs that are focused in the environmental area. I'm working with a group in Kansas right now that's going to start one soon, and I met them last Friday, and they're very excited about it. Veterans clubs, these are forming all around the world. I'm even helping a club in South Africa start one. End human trafficking, we just started another one in Seattle, Washington. Hearing loss, I was on with a group of Filipinos this morning, a group of audiologists who want to form a group to help these individuals. Developmentally disabled, there's a group of professionals I'm working with in Seattle to form a club. Organ donors, there's a group from India who stayed at my home last Thursday night, and they started a club in India, and they want to form satellites all around the world. So just imagine how together we can grow Rotary and grow the support of the Rotary Foundation if every district just had one cause-based club organized around a specific area of focus. Imagine if every district had 7 such clubs, one for each area of focus. And imagine if in zone 33 and 34, we actively reached out to former members, along with prospective members who have an interest in Rotary, but just aren't a good fit for an existing club. And we invited them to design a new cause-based club that fits their needs, their interests, and their schedule. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Tom. That's a really good way to wrap up on, this particular segment. And that sounds like a nice challenge or ask through to RI Director Jeremy for zones 33 and 34. So again, thank you all for stepping in and assisting us with this segment, Patrick, Michael, and Tom. And passing it back over to you, Jeremy, over to you.
Thanks so much, Audley, and thanks to all the panelists. Great session, and great ideas, and great challenges. We love challenges. So moving on, it gives me great pleasure now to introduce our next presentation, the next set of presenters who we're talking about Pete Dora, Amelia, and Dave McCleary. Dave is the recently resigned head of the RAGAS, Rotary Action Group Against Slavery. And what we're going to talk about today is the new zone initiative for human trafficking. So Dave, over to you, Amelia and Pete. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for having us. And this is just an honor to be part of this presentation today. And Jeremy, thank you for your leadership as it relates to taking this issue on, because it's so important to us. And we're really making history within Rotary to have an issue like this taken on. It's the first zone in the world that's doing this. And so we see some real opportunities, but I want to thank my teammates, District Governor nominee Amelia Stansel, otherwise known as Supergirl, and our past District Governor Pete Dora. They're amazing and do incredible work, and we're excited about this opportunity. But why Rotary? Why Rotary human trafficking? I think it's real important to say how I got involved in this in 2012 when I was president of my club, and there was a conference in Atlanta called the Passion Conference. I was a volunteer. Again, I was president of my club. It was mid-year. The entire conference was focused on human trafficking. And I remember thinking, well, this doesn't happen in my community. But I met a girl named Melissa, who actually was from my hometown of Roswell, Georgia. Turns out she dropped out of high school and was offered a job. It turns out that this person was a pimp, and she was trafficked in downtown Atlanta. Had her speak to my club that year. And I remember after the meeting, one of our members gave Melissa a big hug. I said, how'd you know Melissa? He said she used to babysit my kids when she was 12. And I thought, how can this happen? And I thought, what a great opportunity for Rotary National to take this on. So we began to learn more about it. But fast forward to 2017 convention, thanks to the leadership of John Germ and some others in the Atlanta Host Committee, had a big focus on human trafficking that year. And John may not even know this, but 27 presidents that I know of changed what they were going to do mid-year. And many more activities grew out of that time because of Rotary's power. And once people heard the story and wanted to get involved, they really began to get involved. And so thank you, John, for your leadership. And even back then, John imagined, what if Rotary took on an issue like modern day slavery? Not only could we make people aware of the issue, but we can truly save lives. And since then, it's become a bunch of, instead of a bunch of individual club projects, it's become a movement within Rotary, because we believe with the absence of freedom in a community, you cannot accomplish anything. All 7 areas of focus, kind of the umbrella of that is freedom. And so that's why we believe this issue is so important. And here in membership, it's incredible to see the new member and diverse people that we are taking in because of this issue. As you know, that diversity and inclusion is part of Rotary National's big thing. But like I said earlier, we don't approach it as let's get 16 new women into our clubs. Let's take on issues that people care about, that a diverse group of people care about. And one of them is human trafficking. And it's amazing to see the membership, not only new members joining, but the retention rate. In my club of Roswell, we have about 250 members, and the retention rate is incredible. Whenever I raise my hand, I want to do a project in human trafficking, 20, 30 people say, let me help. How can I help? And just in my club, we had 15 new women join because of this issue. I think Amelia said to me a few days ago that they had 7 and they have a smaller club than us. This can truly be a model for Rotary International to take on this issue and make a difference and save lives. And just one quick story about Rotary and the power. There was I got a WhatsApp several months ago from a coordinator in Quito, Ecuador, that received a message from a friend in Argentina that received a message from somebody in Mexico. Their daughter had been trafficked for 2 months. So we reached out to our partners in Mexico City. That girl was rescued in 24 hours because of the global impact of Rotary. So actually, I ask of you is to simply model what we did with Empowering Girls. I mean, that's an amazing program, and you should be so proud of that. We're not in competition. We're going to work very closely with what they're doing. We believe that we should have ambassadors in every district and begin to have programs and district conferences and pets and district assemblies. And you'll be surprised at how many new members we're going to attract because of this issue. It's so important and the people care about. And it intersects not only our 7 areas of focus, but it intersects family domestic violence, poverty, law enforcement, everything that we deal with, because these people are in our club. And I'll just also add too, that not only are we attracting new members to Rotary, but a new group of people that never knew about Rotary are now attracted. We've held major global summits with President Carter. We partner with companies like Jones Day, the law firm, Coke, Delta, UPS. Matter of fact, I met with Delta the other day downtown about a big initiative we're working on them with. So we're bringing a whole nother level of people into Rotary that may not have known about Rotary. So I would love for you, I think our contact information is in the chat, and I'd love for you to join the breakout, find out more what you can do to help us advance this cause within Rotary. But I'm honored the fact that that Jeremy would take this on, and we just are so excited about the opportunity that we have. And then these are just a few areas that we work on, which, as you can see, we work on a vast area around the issue of human trafficking and modern slavery. As mentioned earlier by Jeremy, I was a past chairman of the Rotary International Group Against Slavery, and we have now grown to 62 countries, and the momentum is incredible around the world. And so this opportunity within the district can be, within the zone, can be a model for the rest of the world. So I appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you in the breakout, and look forward to hearing from you to see how we can partner together. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and defer Q&A to the breakout session. So we're going to move on to our next segment, which should be Sandra.
Thank you very much. I'm Sandra Hempstead, the Regional Rotary Foundation Coordinator for Zone 34, and I'm going to give our foundation update on behalf of myself and Lorraine, who is our Zone 33 coordinator. At this point in the Rotary year, we've begun to engage the DRFCs in regular meetings and sharing ideas, and we're working with the clubs to encourage them to enter their foundation goals. And we know, of course, that clubs that enter a foundation goal in Rotary Club Central achieve more during the year. In addition, we have set some goals for ourselves as regional areas and our zones. One of them is to work towards $200 per capita average giving within our paired zones. And we were really close to that this past year. So we're really excited and hopeful that we'll get there this year. Additionally, we're working to engage our Rotaractors, and this will take the form of education regarding the Rotary Foundation, but also encouraging Rotaract to become part of project efforts. And speaking about projects, we are encouraging all of our districts to work together in our paired zones. We are very fortunate that we can do global grants within our two zones because we have so many different countries represented. And we have a very big opportunity to make an impact in the Caribbean with the work that we can do doing projects and increasing the impact and our visibility there in the Caribbean islands. And of course, at this point in the Rotary year, we are looking towards World Polio Day, October 24th. And it's not too early to start preparing. So we will be hosting an event, a Zoom meeting on August 11th at 5 p.m. entitled Preparing for World Polio Day. This event is targeted for the DRFCs, the district polio chairs, and any club polio activities that are happening. We're looking at getting an update, and I want to thank our chair of the Rotary Foundation Board, John Germ, for volunteering to speak at this August 11th Zoom. He'll be providing our polio update. We'll be also talking about how to record and register your fundraisers, how to publicize and market your fundraisers, how to create an awareness campaign, and opportunities to give, be it district designated funds, Polio Society, and other opportunities to give. And we'll be looking forward to some additional activities and being very well prepared in October for World Polio Day. So thank you for allowing me to provide an update, and I'm going to pass the mic, so to speak, to Terry Weaver.
Thank you, Sandra. Let's look at where we are with membership on August 1st. 1 month into the Rotary year. And let's also look at the success track model, which forecasts where we need to be each month of the year in order to end the year with a net membership gain. It turns out that districts and zones lose on average 1% of their membership during the month of December due to semi-annual billing. They also lose a 2.5% during the month of June. Now, not understanding this in advance has led to great disappointment on the part of thousands of governors who thought they had small net gains in April and May, 20, 30, 40 members, and then were surprised when those didn't hold through year end. Well, they don't. So let's take a look at what this ramp looks like. What you'd like to be is on a track to be at 2% net gain by December 1st. That means you can stand that 1% net loss, still have some hay in the barn, and then you proceed on that same growth rate to a net gain of 3% by June 1st of the current Rotary year. That way you can withstand that 2.5% net loss and end up with a 0.5% net gain, which, as many of you know, is what success looks like in this business. Now, then this is what that ramp looks like. Up to December 1st, drop off in December, do the same thing in June. So The nice thing about predictive models is that they're, well, predictive. And let's look at where we are year to date. This is a little bit of a early warning to district governors and the district governor line. The blue line on the left-hand side is where we are actually at the end of August. I'll zoom in on that a little bit. We'll take a closer look. And what you can see is for zone 33 is what the data on the screen is. We are barely off the blocks for the first month of the year. We needed to be at something on the order of 140 net gain. We're at 13. So we need to get the clubs on their horses. Something has happened this year that's different from all of the past years that we have records for. We've been in the 60, 80, 100, 150 member range by this time of the year in past years. This year we're at 13. Zone 34 is doing a little bit better on a bogey of 120, which would be their success track calculation for the end of July, 1st of August. Zone 34 is at 62. So it's time to get engaged with the clubs, remind them that the only way to grow membership is to get started on it soon and grow membership the entire year. This is too big a gap to make up at the end of the year. So my forecast right now, based on what we're seeing, is that we will be about 130 members short of the success track when we get to the end of the year, because that's how far off we are at the start. We can make this up, but we have to get on our horse. So now I'd like to introduce my friend Marshall Butler to give you the public image update. He is the Rotary Public Image Coordinator for Zone 34.
Thank you, Terry. I appreciate that, and great to be with you all today. And super excited about what's going on in Zones 33 and 34 in terms of public image. Lots of great resources are being developed by the Zone 34 and 33 public image teams. Leading off, in a couple of weeks, we have office hours with the Zone 33 public image team. It's their 4th Tuesday series, and they will be having an office hours on August 23rd at 6 p.m. I know that they are posting that on DACDB and on the Zones 33-34 Facebook page. So if you want to register and attend that office hours and answer questions, participate, it's a great event led by Rotary Public Image Coordinator Billy Black. Next up, about a week later, we have the Canva webinar being put on by the Zone 34 public image team, led by actually District Governor nominee Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaron Sines from Zone 33 is going to be pinch hitting and guest presenting in Zone 34 on Canva. Both of them are Canva experts. They're going to be teaching you some tips and tricks on how to use Canva for all your content needs. And we know that it's so important that we tell the Rotary story, that we show the impact of Rotary both in our communities locally and around the world. And we believe Canva is a great resource to do that. And finally, I want to show off a little bit of a new resource page developed here in Zone 34, and that is our brand new website, www.elevaterotary.org. And on this, you will find links to register for our webinars, as well as resources if you're a brand new public image chair. We want to make it as painless as possible to take over that role. Sometimes it's a little overwhelming, and we've created a checklist of items for a new public image chair to jump in and take on that role. We have information about all of our team members, as well as we have decks from past presentations. And of special note, as I wrap up, I would like to point out that person on the far right, that is Susan Corder. And Susan is the recently announced Rotary Public Image Coordinator for Zone 34, starting on July 1, 2023. She is from District 6960, the Rotary Club of Lakewood Ranch, and we are super excited to have Susan joining us. She'll be transitioning, and we'll be doing complete succession planning so that we don't miss a beat as we go into the new Rotary year. So with that, my little bell is ringing, which means it's time for me to hand off to Chris. Chris, back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Marshall. We will now open the opportunity to join one of our 15-minute breakout rooms. You should now see a breakout icon at the bottom of your screen. Simply click on that icon to join the room of your choice. If you're using the Zoom app on your mobile device, you should see the breakout icon appear at the top left of your screen. Dial-in users, unfortunately, will not be able to access breakouts. You are now released to join the breakout of your choice.